He thought they'd reward him with a pet, but they brought him a beautiful beginning. Elias Merrick was not a man anyone expected to stand out. He was an engineer's assistant aboard the deep space freighter Celestia Ark, a vessel that carried supplies and colonists between the inner systems and the barely charted frontier. The crew liked him well enough. Quiet, practical, fond of tinkering with broken things. But Elias was never the sort who would imagine himself the hero of anything, which made it all the more absurd when the Celestia Ark stumbled upon a drifting alien satellite, ancient, cracked, glowing with a strange blue energy, and Elias was the one who figured out how to stop it from exploding. The ship's scanners had detected volatile energy leaks. The captain had been ready to order retreat, but Elias, working alone in the maintenance bay, traced the energy pattern and saw it was rhythmic, like a pulse, not a meltdown. He proposed a frequency dampener, improvised from the Ark's spare comms relay. Everyone else scoffed, but Elias persisted until the captain reluctantly gave him 10 minutes. He recalibrated the dampener, transmitted a pulse across space, and the satellite stabilized. The alien relic, some kind of beacon, shut down gracefully, folding its petals of metal like a flower going to sleep. The crew cheered. For the first time in his life, Elias was more than background noise. But that was only the beginning. Middle, when the Celestia Ark docked at the colony hub of North Prime, Elias expected a commendation, maybe a credit bonus, and if he was lucky, some silly token. The joke among freighter crews was that when you did something heroic, Command sent you a pet, a genetically engineered comfort animal, a feathered lizard, or a bioluminescent cat. Elias half hoped for one. He liked small creatures, and the thought of company in his cramped cabin was appealing. Instead, representatives from the Interstellar Council appeared in polished uniforms, flanked by alien envoys, tall, silver-skinned beings with elongated eyes that shimmered like mercury. They called themselves the Seraph, and their voices carried a tone that seemed to echo inside the skull. "You have touched what none of our kind dared touch," their leader intoned. "The beacon responded to you, human Elias Merrick. That is no accident." Elias blinked. I just used a dampener. Anyone could have done it." "No," the Seraph replied. "Only you. The beacon was a key. It chose." He laughed nervously, scratching his neck. "So what's the reward?" "A pet." The aliens didn't answer with words. Instead, they brought her. She stepped forward from behind the envoys, veiled in a robe of starlight fabric. When she lowered the hood, Elias forgot how to breathe. Her features were humanoid but ethereal. Skin faintly luminous, hair shifting like liquid silver, eyes deep violet threaded with constellations. She looked fragile and strong at once, like a blade made of glass. "This is Lysera," the Seraph announced. "She is bonded to the beacon. She is your reward, your partner, and perhaps your undoing." Elias stared. "Wait, partner? You're giving me a person?" Lysera met his gaze, and though she spoke softly, her voice carried the weight of centuries. "I am not a pet. I am not owned. But fate has woven our paths together. You woke the beacon. Now you must walk the road it opens." Elias's throat went dry. He had wanted a feathered lizard. Instead, he was staring at a beautiful alien woman who apparently thought they were destined companions. At first, Elias tried to resist. He wasn't a hero. He didn't want responsibility. But Lysera stayed close, calm and watchful. She explained that the beacon Elias stabilized was one of many ancient devices scattered across the galaxy, remnants of civilization that had vanished long before humanity's rise. They weren't weapons. They were warnings. "The beacons sing to each other," she told him as they walked the luminous gardens of North Prime. "They are a network. They sense what comes between the stars." "What comes?" Elias asked, though a cold suspicion already gnawed at him. Lysera's eyes dimmed. The Devourers. They erase. They consume memory, culture, even atoms. Long ago, the ancients fought them. The beacons were left behind to prepare those who would come after. And now the beacons chose me? Elias rubbed his temples. I'm not a soldier. I fix pipes and recalibrate sensors. That is why you were chosen, Lysera said gently. Because you see what others overlook. You listen. Over the following weeks, Elias realized that Lysera was not only beautiful, but impossibly intelligent. She could interface with the Ark's systems without touching them, simply by humming a resonance that made the screens flicker to life. She guided him in decoding beacon transmissions, showing him how to read patterns in the pulses, revealing maps of the galaxy that no human had ever seen. Still, part of Elias kept thinking, this isn't my life. I'm just a crewman. Why me? But fate had no patience for doubt. The first Devourer ship appeared near the edge of the frontier, an obsidian construct the size of a city, its surface shifting like black smoke. It tore apart an unmanned station in minutes. Whole colonies panicked. Fleets scrambled, and the beacons lit up. Climax. The Celestia Ark was rerouted under escort, carrying Elias and Lysera toward the next beacon. Deep in a storm-racked nebula. It was there, Lysera said, that Elias would learn the truth of his role. But the Devourers were already hunting. They came in silence, black shards darting to the nebula, cutting down escort ships like paper. The Ark shuddered under impacts. Elias was thrown across the deck, alarm screaming. Lysera stood in the chaos, calm as ever, her violet eyes blazing. Elias, to the beacon. He stumbled after her, heart hammering. The beacon loomed within the nebula, a colossal spire, cracked and glowing faintly. Elias knew instinctively it was dying. What do I do? He shouted over the ship's groans. Listen, Lysera urged. You already know how. Elias closed his eyes. The chaos faded. He felt the same pulse he had sensed weeks ago, deep, rhythmic, alive. His hands flew over the controls, recalibrating dampeners, amplifiers, and power conduits. He wasn't fighting the Devourers directly. He was tuning the beacon, coaxing it awake. The spire flared. A wave of light rippled through the nebula, freezing the Devourer shards mid-flight. For a heartbeat, the universe held its breath. Then the shards dissolved into dust. The Ark's crew erupted in stunned cheers. Elias sagged, drenched in sweat, barely believing what he'd done. Lysera caught him as he stumbled. Her hand was warm against his chest. Do you see now? You are not merely rewarded, Elias. You are chosen, and I am with you until the end. Ending. Word spread across the systems. A human engineer with an alien bondmate had awakened the old defenses. Some called Elias a savior. Others called him a fool dabbling in powers beyond his comprehension. Elias didn't care for titles. What mattered was that the galaxy now had a chance. Each beacon they reached sang louder, connecting with others, weaving a lattice of protection across the stars. He still laughed sometimes at the absurdity of it all. I thought they'd give me a pet, he told Lysera one quiet evening aboard the Arkansas. Something small. Something harmless. Lysera tilted her head, silver hair glimmering in the cabin light. Am I not small enough for you? She teased softly, though her eyes carried galaxies. Elias smiled, weary but sincere. You're more than I ever imagined. Beyond the viewport, stars burned against the void, and somewhere in the dark, more beacons waited. The war was only beginning. But Elias Merrick no longer felt like background noise. He had been given something far stranger and far more beautiful than he had ever dreamed, and together, with Lysera at his side, he would face the darkness to come.